Good morning. Welcome to Gimpy's History Corner. I'm Gimpy, called that by my two grandsons, Ellis and Archie. Here they are with their great-grandmother, Granny Gerald's. We always have a good time with Granny Gerald, that's for sure. Granny's 99 years old, will be 100 in July. Great job, Granny. Okay, still on capitalism. I wanted to mention before I move on in the last video on, I talked about Muslims. I forgot to mention that New York City has a newly elected Muslim mayor, Mondani. I'm not sure it's the only one or not, but that's a big step for Muslims in New York City. Okay, today's video is capitalism and sinful practices. Wow, Americans are sinful sometimes? Hard to believe, isn't it? All right, the first sinful practice is the consumption of alcohol. Colonial life widely consumed and loosely regulated with taverns and the Whiskey Rebellion. I've already done a video on that one. The temperance movement started in the late 1800s and dry laws, some counties. Religion and social reforms. Some counties and states became dry, as they say. If you're wet, you allow alcohol. If you're dry, no alcohol allowed. 18th Amendment in 1919 banned the sale, manufacture, and distribution of alcohol. And the unintended consequences, of course, was the rise of gangsters like Al Capone, the mafia. Italian gangsters, Irish mafia, Jewish mafia. All the different ethnicities were involved with illegal alcohol production and distribution. It got so bad, the 21st Amendment, I believe that was in 1933 maybe, repealed prohibition. They said, well, it seemed like a good idea, but we didn't account for the gangsters. Shifted regulatory power to the states. That's where we got the term state stores. Taxed alcohol. Federal government oversees labeling, advertising, and taxation. So our capitalist government made alcohol legal, but then controlled and made money off the production and sale of alcohol. Modern policies, the government has drunk driving laws. That was kind of powered by a group called MADD, M-A-D-D, Mothers Against Drunk Driving. Started by women whose kids had been killed by drunk drivers. Established limits on if you're pulled over, and they do a breathalyzer test on you if you're over certain limits. That's a DUI or DWI, and harsh penalties. Minimum drinking age was set at 21 in 1984. Alcohol taxation, revenue, and as a deterrent. Raise taxes on alcohol, maybe people will quit buying it. Is it kind of the idea, but it doesn't seem to slow it down much. Okay, so that's alcohol. We started out fine, made it illegal for a while. That created a mafia, and now the government has taken over the sale and taxation on alcohol. Okay, how about gambling? Is gambling a sin? Some people think so. In the 1800s, it was largely outlawed in most states. People ran illegal games. In the 1961, you had the Wire Act, which banned interstate betting on sports. 1988, you had the Indian Gaming Law, which allowed Indian tribes to start casinos. 2018, the Supreme Court allowed states to legalize sports betting. You had sports betting going on in Las Vegas and Atlantic City, New Jersey are the only two places where the states have made it legal. In 2018, the Supreme Court allowed states to legalize sports betting. And since then, the major college sports and pro sports have gone into partnerships with these betting platforms like MGM and I don't know, there's must be 20 or 30 of them, different betting platforms that you use on your phone. And they have podcasts, and they do sports shows on ESPN. ESPN Bet just went out of business. They tried that for a while. And you've had betting scandals. Recently, professional basketball players, college basketball players, professional baseball players have all been punished for participating in illegal betting. Regular casinos used to be legal in Las Vegas and Atlantic City. In the 1990s, the states started letting them create casinos. Now there are 32 states that have legalized casinos. There are two near me, one south of Indianapolis and one east over in Anderson. The one in Anderson is in conjunction with a horse racing place. Horse racing in 1908, they started allowing pari-mutuel betting, which is the standard betting practices of today. And prior to that, they didn't allow betting on horse racing, and horse racing almost went out of business. In the 1920s, states began making it legal, and 32 states have horse racing. 1978, federal regulations started of horse racing. The scandals you get in horse racing are illegal drugs given to horses, mistreatment of horses. Most of the jockeys are Hispanic, so I don't know how they do the visas for the horse jockeys. I guess it's like baseball or other sports where they bring in young men from other countries. So we got alcohol, and we have gambling. Gambling at casinos now. We have alcohol you can buy anywhere. Some places have rules against buying alcohol on Sundays. But you can buy alcohol at Kroger's. You have the state, capitalist state system controlling the taxes on that. And there's taxes on gambling. So the capitalist state governments are making money off of two sinful practices, alcohol and gambling. What else do we have? We got prostitution. Early laws, 1800s, criminalized by states and local levels. And you have the moral reform movement, probably the same ones that fought against alcohol. The Mann Act of 1910, federal crime to transport people across state lines for immoral purposes. They labeled prostitution as immoral. Cities had red light districts where the prostitution was tolerated and regulated until a mid to 20th century crackdown. Times Square in New York City was a red light district. A lot of prostitution, a lot of strip joints. It's near where my youngest son lives in Hell's Kitchen. It's been cleaned up. And the other switch with prostitution is they started looking at not so much a crime, but as a victim. The prostitute was a victim of human trafficking. These young people were not wanting to become prostitutes. They were forced into it by human traffickers. The Traffic Victims Protection Act of 2000 punished the traffickers and supported the victims. They used to call them pimps back in the old days, people who ran these prostitute rings. Now they're human traffickers. 2021, they try to prevent human trafficking by cooperating across different agencies, because a lot of human traffickers are from foreign countries. The murder rate of sex workers is 20 times higher than a normal female. Wow. Prostitutes get murdered 20 times more often than a normal woman. That's not good. Now, there are legalized zones for prostitution. Of course, Nevada is a famous place of licensed brothels. The urban areas with the highest rate of prostitution are Los Angeles, New York City, Chicago, Houston, Miami, and Atlanta. So they say it's the world's oldest profession. But it's, in the Bible, Mary Magdalene was considered at one time a prostitute. That's been reputed by many experts. But that's how the Catholic Church turned people against the females, who was calling Mary Magdalene a prostitute. But it's been around a long time, unfortunately. Men's power over women for sex is one of the oldest stories in the world. But today, governments, capitalism tries to look after the victim as the female victim and tries to stop human trafficking. In the news, every once in a while, you see arrests of human trafficking rings, and they're all men. It's one of the worst things about human race is men forcing women into human trafficking. Okay, the last sin we're going to examine is illegal drugs. 1914, the Harrison Narcotics Act regulated and taxed opiates and coke products, cocaine. 1935, Marijuana Tax Act, heavy tax and penalized use of marijuana. The war on drugs of 1970s, the U.S. government created drug schedules based on medical uses and abuse potential. The Anti-Abuse Acts of 86 and 88, mandatory minimum sentences, which filled up our prisons. The current policies, the opioid crisis, created treatment centers and Naloxone distribution. It's the thing for an opioid overdose, police carry around, how do they call them, narco pens or something like that, and shoot them in, they wake up miraculously. Of course, lawsuits in many states sued big pharmaceutical companies for starting the opioid crisis to make money. That's been pretty well documented. Very sad. Capitalism strikes and kills hundreds of thousands of people. The opioids, drugs were painkillers. People with back pain, Rush Limbaugh, got addicted to opioids because he had back pain. But then you get addicted to it. Cannabis legislation, 20 states have legalized recreational use, but federal law still conflicts with that. Federal law says it's illegal, but 20 states have said, yeah, let's go ahead. Because doctors have said marijuana helps with certain medical conditions. And some states said, well, it's not that harmful. Matter of fact, we will sell it. We will license the sellers. So you have licensed cannabis situations. When I drive to Ohio on one route, I go past a cannabis distribution center. Brand new building. Wow, that's how things have changed. The fentanyl crisis gets mixed in with the opioids. Fentanyl is a different type of drug that's much more dangerous. And they get created and sent in and mixed with the opioids, and boy, it is a killer. Venezuela cartels. Trump administration is destroying the ships coming out of Venezuela, he says, are drug ships. Hopefully they are. Mexican cartels are famous for brutality. And we're not sure if the government of Mexico is in league with the cartels or trying to fight them. We're not sure. Supposedly there are some plans in the making for a military invasion against the cartels by the Trump administration. Cartels are very powerful. Mexico, they seem to control the government. We have arrested several cartel leaders. They escaped, dig tunnels. Wow. I don't know. It's a different part of the world in Mexico. Very violent. Cartels. Oh my, what country was it where we just had a major battle between the army and the cartels? It was on the news. Okay, the part of the deportation program of the Trump administration is to get rid of cartel members who are here in the United States working the drug rings. And I don't know. I don't know if we'll ever solve this sinful practice of illegal drugs. With marijuana, we've eased up on our prosecution of marijuana people. But opioids came in kind of secretly to help pain relief, but became very highly addictive. And then they started inflicting fentanyl in the opioid, and it's a killer. And China is supposedly involved in the fentanyl trade, trying to weaken the United States, I'd say. I don't know what's going to happen with the drug trade. I don't know anybody personally. We met with, when I was a school administrator, towards the end of my career, we met with local police, and they talked about all the people they find in like McDonald's restrooms or in their homes. They had parents die, opioid overdose. Terrible for the families and the kids. What is it about humans that crave alcohol, illegal drugs, prostitution, gambling? It's a human weakness, I'd say. And the government has struggled on what role they're going to play. Are they going to try to stamp it out? Are they going to try to regulate it, tax it? Wow. A major part of capitalism is what to do about sinful practices. Okay, my Buckeyes won yesterday. They beat those Bruins from UCLA. So they keep rolling. Go Bucks. Thank you.